Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of Clean Slate, a show here on Rebel Sportsnet where we'll be discussing the weekly slate of NFL games. I'm your host, Gabe Goddard. This week I'm joined by Anthony Pavicic and Matt Canigliero. Guys, we are officially more than halfway done with the NFL season. We're going into week 11, and this week I just wanted to talk to you guys about something I don't think it's too early for. Who is going to walk away with the league MVP this year? The Vegas sportsbooks have Matthew Stafford from the Rams as the favorite at plus 270. Right behind him is Drake May from the Patriots at plus 300. Then we got Jonathan Taylor from Indianapolis at plus 450 and Patrick Mahomes at plus 600. And as for Matt Stafford, for me personally, that's my runaway favorite for MVP this year. As much as I would love to give Best Unk Award in the NFL to Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford absolutely takes it. 37 years old, out here balling his butt off. Fourth in the league in passing yards with 2,427 and a league-leading 25 passing touchdowns, and he's only thrown 2 picks all year. Rams are 7-2. They in the last 3 games, they've scored at least 34 points, and they've won by at least 16. I think they're in perfect midseason form.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you got Matthew Stafford, who somehow got back into his prime, and plus, he has a good receiving core too. You got Puka Nacua, who's missed a few games, but he's back. But definitely, you got Devontae Adams, who, kind of took some hard hits, but now when you got a good quarterback throwing to him, he's definitely going to be looking like his old Devontae Adams self. But honestly, I think he should win MVP. He has put the Rams in a great position to not only win the NFC West, but to get them a top seed in the NFC, which is huge for the playoffs. And honestly, he's cooked a lot of teams. You look at the Colts, unfortunately, my 49ers too. I mean, he cooked my Niners on defense. I had it on fantasy, so that was a big mistake on my part. But definitely, I think Matthew Stafford, if it was given to a QB, which I think it will be Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you guys on that. I just don't think, I think he's thrown like 13 touchdowns in the past 3 games. There's no way you can kind of vote against a guy like that. And, not to be forgotten too, last year, beginning of the season, we were talking about the Rams possibly drafting a first-round quarterback. We were talking about Matthew Stafford possibly retiring because of the back issues that held him out of training camp, and he just looks like he's always looked this season. I really don't think that you can not give him the award. I mean, unless Jonathan Taylor breaks like the rushing touchdown record this season, it's a quarterback. It's a quarterback's award. It's just plain and simple.
And like you said, 13 touchdowns over the last 3 games, 5 against Jacksonville, 4 against New Orleans, 4 against San Francisco. But his toughest test is coming this week, week 11, when Seattle's coming into town. The other villain of the NFC West also standing at 7-2 with the 6th favorite to win MVP, Sam Darnold. And I think the winner of this game is really going to set the precedent of who's the top dog in the NFC this year. Absolutely. And I know it's just a regular week 11, a regular season game, but I think this game has huge implications for playoff pictures. Right. And I think this is definitely a playoff preview that we're about to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But moving on, next up was Drake May at plus 300. And absolutely, you got to say, like, he is the future of the franchise in New England, but still, I'm hesitant to put him in the MVP conversation. Yeah. He's been doing a great job this year. He's 3rd in the league with passing yards, 2,555, and he's tied for 3rd with 19 touchdowns. But the Patriots, they just have an easy schedule, man. I was looking over their schedule. It's just, they don't play anybody tough, but I will give them their flowers, though. Right. They've faced 2 real challengers in the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they won both of those games.
Yeah, I can see Drake May getting at least a few votes. We're not going to say he's going to get 0 votes. I mean, because one thing that I have to give Drake May the plus, we'll say, over Matthew Stafford is Drake May's not throwing it to Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. And yes, Stephon Diggs is there, but he's coming off a ACL tear. It's getting a little long in the tooth. Still, man, Drake May's throwing the ball all over the field. He's got the Patriots back to their former glory. I know us all non-Patriot fans are kind of worried that we're going to have to watch another 15, 20 years of Tom Brady-looking football. But, if Daniel Jones wasn't playing the way he was, I would say you could maybe give Drake May some sort of most improved, from his rookie year to his sophomore year. Right. Unfortunately, there's not a, sophomore of the year award. I think he'd be a lock for it. But the Patriots are in prime position to look like a contender in the AFC. Maybe he doesn't win MVP, but maybe he's facing Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of hesitant with Drake May. I think obviously it helps when you have Stephon Diggs, but I mean, and let's not forget that when they beat Buffalo, it was only a 3-point game, and the turnovers killed Buffalo in that game.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hesitant on that part. I think given the schedule, I think they could win the AFC East. They don't, I mean, who do they have? They have their only tough opponent left is going to be the Bills. You got to play the Bills one more time, and I think that's definitely going to, how last game ended, that's going to, motivate the Bills even further. But given the schedule, what you got the Jets, you got the Bengals.
They got the Giants too.
The Giants.
Another team that's reeling right now.
Given the schedule, maybe they could get the AFC East, but I don't think they're a playoff contender. I don't think they're like Super Bowl contender team.
Right. We can kind of see the trend moving that way. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And I will give Drake May his flowers. If we go back to Week 1. Who was everybody's unanimous MVP in the league? It was Baker Mayfield down in Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah.
But I was watching that game last week, and he looked good. He was keeping up with an MVP candidate. Yeah. And I will say, even Baker has an advantage in that situation. I know they both have kind of lackluster wide receiver rooms, but I would take Emeka Egbuka over Stephon Diggs.
Oh, yeah. Looks good. And he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And I think he's been hampered with like a hamstring as well, where that's kind of when his production really went off a cliff. No, not off a cliff, but did. But also, Mike Evans pretty much done for the year. So like I feel like that's kind of the turning point. That Mike Evans injury, coupled with the Emeka Egbuka injury, kind of coming around the same time, really dipped that offensive production and hurt Baker's chances. Honestly, I love Baker Mayfield though. I've always loved him since he came out. I know a lot of the media has given him crap. The commercials, the this, the that, but I mean, he's always been a guy who comes in, he plays, he practices, he does everything he needs to do to try to win a game. So, always be a fan of the guy. Do I think he's MVP this year? No, I don't.
And I'm excited to watch what Drake May has for the rest of the season. Like you said, Ansley, a playoff contender, absolutely.
Right.
Super Bowl contender, I don't think so. And everyone's gonna say, oh, but they're 8-2. They're 8-2. You know who else is 8-2 is the Denver Broncos. Right. And nobody's thinking about them as a Super Bowl contender.
Exactly.
I mean, how many fourth quarter comebacks have they had to, miraculous fourth quarter comebacks have they had just to have that 8-2 record? They could just easily be like 3-7.
Right.
I mean, on a good day.
And I think I think what's the people's choice for MVP in the NFL this year. We all know MVP is a quarterback award.
Yeah.
But let's break down what it really means to be the most valuable player on a team. You look at Jonathan Taylor. The Colts lost to the Steelers because the Steelers figured out how to take him out of the game.
Exactly.
Which means Daniel Jones is not their most valuable player. You can't plug Daniel Jones in a Jonathan Taylor-less offense and expect him to go win the game. Yeah. That offense is Jonathan Taylor's. He is absolutely the anchor of that Colts team. He is their most valuable player. I think at this point you could plug in Anthony Richardson in there, and as long as he doesn't drop the ball, giving it to JT, they'll be fine.
Yeah, honestly, if it's not a quarterback award, 100%. It would 100%. He would be my favorite, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you mentioned it best. I mean, the way the Steelers are able to contain him is why the Steelers won that game against the Colts. I mean, this dude has. I mean, you look at the game against the Falcons. He totally bombarded the defense, and that won the game for the Colts. Yeah. He has over 1,000 yards of rushing. He had 3 touchdowns last game, and I think, and that's just a microcosm of the whole season for Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. If that man's not doing well for the Colts aren't going to win that game. Yeah,
I see a lot of similarities between this Colts team and that 2022 Giants team that Daniel Jones led to a playoff victory. That was Saquon Barkley's team, just like this is Jonathan Taylor's team. I don't disagree with anything you said. The only problem I see is it's a quarterback award. Yes. So unless Jonathan Taylor is breaking, I think LaDainian Tomlinson has the record with like 28 rushing touchdowns in a season. Sean Alexander, I think, had it before him, unless he's breaking some type of record like that where you can't not pick him as MVP, I think it's just going to default to a quarterback, and Jonathan Taylor's going to get that Offensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, definitely Offensive Player of the Year, but I just hate the fact that MVP automatically has to go to a quarterback. You know?
Quarterback.
Because when a team loses a good quarterback and they feel the suffering of that absence, that goes to show that quarterback is the most valuable player on that team. Just look at the Commanders, what's going on with the Commanders.
Team falls
right?
apart.
Yeah.
The
same
team,
thing would happen if Jonathan Taylor went down with a hamstring injury.
absolutely,
Yeah.
which is
They're
why
not going to look the same.
he's my People's Choice Award for MVP, because I think when you break down the definition of most valuable player, he is the most valuable player on his team, on probably the most surprising, the most watched team in the NFL this year. And speaking of most watched teams, the former most watched person in the league, fourth favorite to win MVP plus 600 is Patrick Mahomes. And I'll be all the way honest with you guys, the Chiefs are done. That dynasty is done. They're sitting right now at 5-4. And I think the only reason Pat Mahomes is even in this MVP conversation is because his name is Pat Mahomes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I honestly, I agree with you. I don't see the Chiefs. A lot of people are saying they're not worried about the Chiefs. I kind of am. I mean, they're 5-4. They're kind of rising, but I just don't see it. I mean, who would have said they're third and they're third or second?
They're third in the division.
Yeah, they're third in their own division, which includes the Raiders, and then but you got Denver being 8-2. I think this is going to be a test of how Denver reacts to the Chiefs, because I think when the Bills played the Chiefs, they did a really good job of containing the guys, and he had an under 50% completion rate during that game.
Right.
The first time ever in his career was that a career low. And I think if you want to compete against Patrick Mahomes and stop him, that's what you need to do.
Well, absolutely, because the Chiefs, they don't have any kind of rushing attack right now.
Right.
Isaiah Pacheco is their leading rusher, barely has 300 yards on the year.
Yeah.
And I know there's been questions about injury and stuff like that, but everyone knows what the Chiefs are going to go out there and do.
Yeah.
You've got the alleged GOAT at quarterback. As long as you take that away, there's a reason why they're 5-4 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Pat Mahomes is keeping the Chiefs relevant this season. The wide receivers aren't as good as they used to be. Travis Kelce's getting a little older. Maybe that defense isn't stopping as many people. But, do I think he's the MVP this year? No. Do I think he's the most valuable player on his team?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same,
I mean,
yeah.
and I know it's Pat Mahomes, that kind of goes without saying, but he's really keeping that team relevant in spite of their shortcomings. And, let's not forget that Tom Brady went 10 plus years without winning a Super Bowl before that Falcons 28-3 comeback. So, I mean, we see this with these guys where it's he could still be the GOAT and not win a Super Bowl for another 6-7 years, but he's going to have to win a few more to keep that conversation going. But, yeah, do I think he's the MVP this year? No.
No.
Well, we've gone over the 4 favorites to win MVP this year, guys. I think that's about all the time we have this week. I want to thank y'all again for coming on the show. I want to thank you guys for watching. Huge thanks to my editor, Marcus Bray, and my technical director, Kyle Sparrow. We'll see you next Saturday here on Rebel Sports Network on Clean Slate.